Hey guys, how's it going? Ghostly Rich here today, and today we are going to be wiring in a rear light bar. Now it's very simple. First we're going to start with mounting the light bar at the rear of the Jeep. So let's go do that. Alright guys, I'm going to quickly mount this up just to show you what I did here. I measured my light bar and I measured it was 20 inches. So I put the holes, I did a center mark, and then I put the holes 7 inches off center on each side, which would put it like 14 inches. It gives you a little bit of slide room for your bar to center it, and it also holds it pretty well. Again, this is a stock Jeep. When I upgrade my bumpers, I'm gonna do a different design. Probably put it within the bumper, but for within here for now, I'm just gonna bolt it onto here. It's gonna sit up pretty high. I'm not really worried about it rubbing because I don't do crawling and stuff. It's just majorly a trail rig, and some of the trails that we get into is pretty dark. And I haven't really had it where I've rubbed. I mean, I've got guys that use hitches, and the hitches sometimes will hit on the bottom because the hitch sits way down here. But with the light being up this high, I don't see it hitting. I've also seen one of our guys, he has like a big rack mount right here. I think it's for his jack and some stuff like that. And he's never hit it. So, I mean, again, we're not doing any crazy trails right now. Once I start doing more mods to the Jeep, this will be changed. All right, so I went with some longer bolts so they sit through. Now, what some people can do is if you look behind here, there's a big opening. You could technically sawzall that piece out. Now, I didn't want to do that just because with this stock bumper and stuff, even if I did that, it gave me a little bit more room. Like I said, it's nothing I have to worry about. And what's cool is I can still use a hitch. If I want to bolt a hitch onto the bottom of this, the hitch receiver will still be able. So if you have a hitch receiver, it might be harder to do this because of the fact that you need to reach in behind. You may have to unbolt your receiver, but what I've done is literally just held back here, held the bolt, tightened it down, and then I used nylon locking nuts, which came with the aux beam stuff here. But what I couldn't use was the screws. They were too small. So I went to a 2-inch M8 screw. So I mean, you can find them at any hardware store. Just say, hey, I need a 2-inch M8. They'll give you one. You can just shove it right through the hole that you've made and through here. Put it there, tighten down the nut. If you can get a washer on it, you can do that too, and a spring washer on the inside. But again, if you push the bumper in, or if you tighten it enough, it's good. The bumper pushing against it should help hold it in, and the nylon nut's gonna help too. Again, like I said, this is just for now for me. I do have bigger plans. It's just I want more lighting in the back for when I'm backing up in the bush, because right now it's a little dull. So I'm going to aim this a little higher so it shoots up so I can see behind when I'm backing up. So now that I've got this here, before I get the light bar all done up, I'm going to put another hole right over here, because if I line this up like this, I want the power wire to go in, and then I'll have it come out through the back. So that way I don't have to wrap it around or something. So I'm just gonna put another hole probably up and over here. And give me one sec. All right, so it's on its upward angle. I finally but trickly put in the Allen key bolts, first doing it lightly up top and then tightening it with a pair of pliers afterwards. And they are tight now, so it isn't gonna go anywhere. Probably do a tiny bit more centering with it and loosen it off a tiny bit, center it, make sure it's all good. But before I do all the fine tuning, because I am going to want to like put it on and see how much of an angle I want to get the light that I want, the light output. And again, look, it's not that bad. I mean, that hook is going to drag before the light bar ever will, and I'll probably break my exhaust off. So, all things that will happen eventually on the Jeep. So, oh, and the door closes perfectly fine. I put that little hole back there, as you can see, and then I fed it out through there. I'm actually going to feed that up and over the bumper, and then I'm going to go probably that direction with it. I'm going to find out which way, but I'd rather keep it away from the exhaust system. And I'll show you the last bit of wiring from the front to the back here. So your relay options are simple. You can either A, bolt your relay to the firewall like so. That's what I did with a couple for my other light bar. I'm going to be getting an S-Pod soon, so that's going to replace all these relays and stuff, and I'm going to have to relocate wiring. This is just all temporary. Or, if you know like me, it's going to be temporary. For these other two, I'm just going to be zap strapping them onto a wire bundle like so. And it's not going to move around too much, so I'm not too worried. And then what you can do is after you've done that, I'm going to clean up a spot right here, and I'm going to sand this. I'll show you, and I'm going to put my own ground right here too. You could, if you wanted to, go off a pre-existing ground if you want to look like there's one right here. So if you wanted to, if your wires are long enough, which I think ours will be, we'll see. They're pretty close, but you could put that on there if you loosen the ground screw. The other thing you can do is like what I'm thinking about doing. That is, I'm just going to clean off a spot right here, and I'm just going to put my own grounding screw right here. Now, if you're going to be doing this, one thing you need to remember to do is you have to scratch off the paint layer. If you don't scratch off the paint, then it will not make a connection to the actual body, and then your light won't work properly. It might flicker, who knows. So you got to make sure you get a good ground. So right now, get your power wire, and what you can do is just, you'll see the fuse is right here. Just zap strap it up and along there. Don't attach it yet, just zap strap it. The last thing you do is you attach them. So yeah, for now, just go ahead and run your power, leave it dangling here, and I'll show you what my ground looks like when I'm done. So as you can see, our power wires are right here, and I've just put them like that, zap strapped. I'm going to put another zap strap and some tape, protect those right there. And then if you look here, I've got more than one fuse, but it brings your fuse right here, so that way if you ever have a problem with one of your light bars, you can troubleshoot from here with your meter. Keeps your fuses nice and close to the battery, which is what you want. The closer the fuses to the battery terminal, the better. So now that that's there, what I ended up doing is, if you take a look here, since I'm already drilling into the body here, just take your ground, fold it up, and then ground it right there. If you want, when you pre-drill the hole, like use a self-tapper, self-tap into there, and don't worry, it goes right into here, so it's not really gonna wreck anything. And then right after you self-tap through there, if you want, take a piece of steel wool or sandpaper and just sand a little bit behind it. Once you do that, just screw your screw down, and it'll ground right to there. Now, if you have a plastic relay like this, where it's got a plastic type tip, put the metal piece under the plastic because you want it right against the body. But since that relay clip on top of this one is metal, I just put it right there and it'll go right to it. So as you can see, it's grounded right there, power's right here. Now it's time to run the switch into the cab. Now the best way I found to do this is take your Jeep cover, grab it like so, lift up, and then pull towards you after it's up. Right there, you now have a straight shot to the other side where you can either drill through the firewall, or if you have an automatic Jeep, there's a spot where the clutch pedal would go through. And since there's that, we can use that to our advantage. So give me one sec here, and I'll show you where that is. So as you can see, I started zap strapping. I got to right here. Now see right there where that blue power wire is going through? Right under that bolt? Right there. It's like a big McDonald's push pin. Like a thing that you put a straw through. I can't really get you a better angle on it, but you can, if you go inside, probably cut. What I did is I cut it open a long time ago, but all I did is I used a bit of a knife, and it's just rubber, so you can push things in and out through the firewall. So it's kind of good for putting stuff into the engine bay. As you can see, I've got lots of stuff going through there. So that's where you should push your wires through if you have that option. If you don't have that option, then you might want to drill a hole through the firewall at a different location, but for me, that works perfect. If you have one of these covers that go on here, all you do is you pry on this corner and then pry on the other corner.
it'll bend out like this, then you can lift it out. As you can see, there's hooks and there's clips. Very easy to take off. Again, clips, and then the bottom is hooks. So pop out, lift out. Leave this down here. As you can see, I already have a switch on there. So you're going to take the switch like so. Sorry, I've got 2 switches I'm running right now. And it's just going to be this easy. Just stick it in through like this. And this is, of course, only if you want to put it on the dash panel. I like to put it here because it's kind of between you and this part here. As long as you don't have a ton of keys hanging off, you're fine. For me, it's perfect. It's kind of stealth and out of the way. And keeps the dash nice and clean so people don't look inside your vehicle and say, wow, look at all these switches or something like that. Not that they're going to be, with a Jeep, it's all bolt on the outside anyway, so if they want anything, they're going to grab it. But after it comes out through here, if you go in underneath where we put the stuff through, ta-da, our 2 pigtails will be hanging here. Let's see if I can, there, right there, and then up there, this is the part where they're all coming through. So, like I said, if you're having trouble trying to squeeze them through, you might need to come in here with a bit of an X-Acto or something and just open up the sleeve a little bit. Just be careful if there's any wires going through here that you don't catch on anything or cut any wires. So once you get your wires here, find a path and just strap it up and along through here and connect it. And then with this, I just bundle the extra down here, so that way you can still pull your plate out if you want to. That's why I've left that one looser, so that way I could still pull it in and out. Probably just gonna put these right below it, one here and one here. But yeah, that's all there is to it. After this, now we can solder on our light bars. So for feeding the wire for here, if you dig into the corner here, you'll see this big loom, and if you feel there's a space between the battery box. And all you're going to do is you're going to shove the tip of the wire down there and just past the corner of the battery box. Keep stuffing it in until you've got a little bit in there. After you've got a bit in there, just come down here. Once you're down here, you'll see your fender well. And this is going to allow us to see some stuff up there. Let's see if I can get you a better light. There's the tip of our wire. Let's see if I can show it. See, there's our red and black. Just by stuffing it in, I was able to get it. Now from there, see this big steel frame? We want to bring it out on this side of the frame. And you'll see a wire loom that runs all the way to the rear of the vehicle. So, basically, I can show you it right there. See that? So, pull that wire down so it comes through there, and then you can strap it along this other loomed piece all the way down. So I had a bunch of extra wire from another one of the light bars that I did. So I'm going to extend this one going from the front, of course, because it's going to have to be longer. What I did is I slit this down, and the reason why is after I've now soldered, I put a little bit of heat shrink, plus put electrical tape. I'm going crazy on this one. Put this around like this, and I'm going to tape it so it connects. And that'll be taped up well too, just to make sure. You can never just overproof it, right? So, and it closes perfectly around it. After we have that much length, we have more than enough to go to the back. I'll show you the track that I take. So once you get it to here, like it was here, all I did was I wrapped it through there. If you look at the wheel well, I have it there. I'm going to tuck it in deeper, but it's going to go in deeper there, and then it comes out on the side over here, and it's just dangling here right now, but I'm going to strap it along here. That way it's away from the exhaust system. So after you do that switcheroo, as you can see my black wires there, I'm going to be tightening all this up, but it goes up and around there. I don't know if it's quite going to sit there yet. I'm going to be pulling it deeper in when I strap it. And as you can see, it comes to right here. Now I left this loose loop so you can see how I pulled it through. I literally just went from there to there. Again, I'm going to clean it up a little bit around here. I might even zap strap it to the top of the exhaust hanger, or I might just do it up here. Like I'll zap strap it there and I'll find a point back over here. And then, just to show you everything I've kind of gone through here, then it goes up, and then I weaved it up and through one of the holes of the pipe here. You'll see right there that beveled edge up there. It goes right through there, out through this side, and now I can solder these two and tuck them in up there nice and tight, or we'll see, but I'll definitely have it nice and tight up in there. But for right now, I need to tighten up all my wiring. I just wanted to show you how I weaved it, and it's going to stay away from the exhaust, and it's going to stay away from the suspension, because the last thing you need is your wires being wrapped up in the suspension. So make sure you use quite a few zaps here just to make sure that it goes around the suspension properly and goes around and then comes down here, and we'll make sure this is nice and clean.
Alright, so let's go over this wire one more time. I was looking at the video and it kind of was a little confusing. So I figured, you know what, let's show you again how this all worked out. So, if we go down to where our wheel well was, you'll see this frame piece. What I did was, you can see my wire coming down. So that's from where we grabbed it at the battery box and dropped it down in the corner in between the firewall and the corner of the battery box. When we stuffed it down here, it fed down here. I fed it past, let's see if I can get you a good shot. So this is your major frame of your Jeep. I tucked it in through there, and by doing so, I could see it on this side. So I fed it along through here because the other side's the gas tank. So you can see my wire up there if you look really tight. And there's a loom up here. I just zap strapped it against the loom that follows the frame right to this stud. And then from following this stud, I tucked it in around the stud here so it wouldn't be dangling on this side, because that wouldn't be good. And it comes up and around here, and again, followed the wire loom, goes up into the wheel well there, and around the wheel well, down through there, and boom. As you can see, zap strapped a little bit of a service loop right here, just so that way if I want to move the light bar, I can. And I did that way, it wouldn't have to solder. Gives me a little extra. Then I fed it down through there. Now there was a beveled edge on the bumper back here that I showed a bunch of people. So there's the spare tire and the light bar. But so, as you can see, there is the top of the support. It goes, if you have your hand wrapped around there, you'll feel the little corner edge right there. You shove it in there, and then you shove it in here, pops out on this side, and there is the light bar wire. So it just goes right through the bumper, right to here. That's it. And then you just solder on your light bar, soldering on just the black and red wire. Black goes to black, red goes to red, and now let's test it out. Very easy. Loosen off the 10mm bolt, and then just put the little horseshoe in and tighten it down. And then you're done. Now you go hit your switch on the inside of the vehicle and try it on. Let's try out this rear light bar. So right here, click that switch. Well, wherever you put yours. And wow, that is nice and bright.